Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. I wish you to have a nice Sunday. And starting with the all-time history for Bitcoin on the parabolic chart, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a finished impulse toward the upside, a finished wave A or a wave 1, followed by an ABC for a wave 2 or a wave B, and our latest bull run that we got, of course, is your wave 1 of a wave 3, of course, can be considered a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, still looking for higher. Or it can be, of course, a potential in case this is a correction like an ABC, very far possibility. Of course, we're still looking in higher possibility for an impulse to unfold, of course, after this wave 1 as a bull run 3, 4, 5. Can be a wave 3 or a wave C, meaning A, B, and a C, or a 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and a 5. Still looking for higher prices. As you can see, every time we reach a new all-time high, we see the parabolic move, of course, here, or the curve taking the all-time high every time. And currently with the latest bull run that we got, we were very, very close to it. However, it is very likely even that we have topped over there for a wave 5, for a wave 1. And what we are looking at right now is an A, B, and a C expanding flat wave 2, which it might be here a bear market corrective. For the first time, of course, in history for Bitcoin to see an expanding flat. Each time we saw, of course, before an ABC zigzag for every single market. This time it might be, of course, an expanding flat with simple aggressive wave C to finish around the 68K, which is in confluence with this area, of course, very strong support. And of course, to start a wave 3 for a new bull run after, of course, reaching the minimum target 0.38. After reaching the minimum target for a wave 2, the 0.38 FEB level, of course, which is here, of course, showing 51K, but actually you have to take it into the linear chart, which is around the 73K and not on the logarithmic chart. Now, basically, if we move to the channeling of our latest bull run, we can see, of course, that regarding the channeling here, taken from the 1 to the 2, of course, base channel here, we can see that we have left the base channel for wave 3, ranging in the wave 4, of course, in the blue channel, and finally exiting both channels here, corrective and the base channel, to enter the acceleration channel and hitting the midline as it is supposed to be. Exiting this acceleration channel normally means, of course, that the impulse is done and is finished over there, and this is exactly what happened actually, despite the move toward the upside that we saw, ranging again, of course, inside the base channel, but not being able to exit it. Especially in the latest move here, we can see as well, of course, a rejection from the top, not being able to reach even the base channel, this time upper line, and we drop down massively, coming back into the corrective channel. And this is a signal, of course, of a weakness, and something very bearish is unfolding toward the downside. Now, basically, we are looking at a top from there, and this is your A, 3 ways B, and we're looking for a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave C to unfold toward the downside. This currently might be your wave 1 of a wave C. And that means after the invalidation of the last bullish scenario in our pocket here, which it was a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, of course, breaking the trend line here and taking the low was, of course, our signal for a bear market. As mentioned before, bear market signal already given, and that means there is no bullish scenario in our pocket anymore for higher prices currently. We might see, of course, a continuation toward the downside, and this scenario, of course, is out of the equation. The next scenario that we are looking for, which is the main bear market here, might be, of course, a wave 1, a wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5, to reach, as mentioned in the parabolic move for Bitcoin on the all-time history, 1.618, which is the most common target, around the 70K, which is also in confluence here with this area. And of course, we see a potential finished wave C here as a wave 2. And of course, because you have a wave 1 already there, and we move towards the upside in a bull run again, of course, over 200K potentially. For the next bull run, we're going to see, of course, the targets depends, of course, on the FEB levels. However, this is of course our main bear market, is that it might be finished or already there. And that because of course we already started with the bear market. You have passed half of it already by taking new highs for Bitcoin, which is a very nice opportunity to of course accumulate for Bitcoin still. But basically right now it is time of course for this aggressive move to unfold of course, and starting a new bull run from there. Now, as a potential finish scenario for the bullish, which it can be of course as well your wave 1 over there, we might have finished of course a wave 5 here in triple 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, and finally if this is a wave 5, you have a 1 2 3 4 5 ending diagonal. And that means of course you have topped over there anyway, and taking the perfect fib levels for a wave 5 in a zigzag, and then dropping down massively toward the downside. Now, the difference between this scenario and the previous scenario is that you started a bear market from this point and not exactly from that point here. And that means from this point, you might start, of course, a new structure that it might have the same targets potentially, but it can be in a longer time, of course, for a bear market here, more than the previous one. The previous one, you have only one wave C that it might finish, but this one, of course, is a longer bear market that it has to be, of course, taken from the time based on this wave 1. And that we look, of course, for this time a little bit longer for a wave 2 before unfolding something toward the upside again. Yep, so this is the main possibility as well. I would say another possibility, same thing here. You can say that you have finished a 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 5, extended wave 5 a little bit, but you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending diagonal. And that means, of course, that this is a finished wave 5, finished wave 1 also there, rather than the previous scenario finishing ending diagonal internally. Now it is a larger ending diagonal, signaling also a top and moving toward the downside. Same scenario might unfold for a new bear market in a very longer time here. Another scenario is that you might have the ultimate bullish scenario in case we are still bullish here, but of course this is not possible in case of course that you have a 1 2 1 2. Well, of course, I mean, taking this potential target here, that means, of course, invalidation of bullish totally. So you can say, I mean, it's a very low possibility, but still possible in case that you have ABC here, and we move higher again for a new all-time highs. This scenario, of course, might still be in the pocket for bullish, but we need, of course, a signal of strength. We need, of course, a signal that we're gonna take the high again, and that means, of course, a bull run is still there, and it might be, of course, a big 1 2 and 1 2 1 2 and several 1 2s here to reach above the 200k directly. Yeah, so yeah, so far I would say it can be, guys, it still can be 1 and A, B, and a C expanding flat wave 2, but very low possibility, of course, due to the weakness of the market currently. For the bearish wave on the 2-hour chart here, a little bit to dive a little bit deeper, we can see that we have already from the top here several 1 2s, of course, and these several 1 2s are unfolding right now after a wave 3, a wave 4 that it might be very corrective here, and of course based on the wave 2 here, we need that time, of course, to range a little bit. And basically yesterday in the live stream, we mentioned this is a triangle and that we might see, of course, a drop down. Now we saw, of course, an impulse, wave 1. This is your wave 2 to continue wave 3, 4, and a 5. Well, we're going to watch it today, of course. This is a possibility right now that it might unfold, of course, for Bitcoin. In case that we, of course, invalidate this 1 2, which is started to be, of course, very strong here. However, in case that this is an impulse, a 1 2 3 4 and a 5, it can be, but of course on the micro level here, you can see that it is a little bit hard to call this as a wave 1. Plus, of course, the wave 2 here took the low, and even if you are in a 1 2 here, it's hard to call this a wave 3. So the things are not very still clear for bullish, I would say. In case, of course, we're moving for a little bit higher, It might be simply still corrective. It can be, of course, a longer correction, despite, of course, I mean, after this massive move, you might, of course, expect even a longer sideways here. It can be a bigger A, B, and a C here somehow, or bigger W, X, and a Y, and that we continue the drop down, of course, once we finish this correction. So basically, I don't see yet, of course, a signal that we are going to be bullish, and of course that we are reversing here. We still, of course, have to estimate the situation, and of course to see what is gonna be the reaction of the price, of course. And basically, you can watch also these areas in case that we are in a potential zigzag here. Yeah, I mean, it can, if we come back to the 119k, that of course is a big bounce here for Bitcoin, 119k, in case it is a wave C. However, this is of course a signal of something else unfolding, because also if you are in a 1, 2, 3 wave 4, it can be, of course, in this area without invalidation, but still, of course, very, I would say, very strong for a correction. I believe that the 0.618 might be the target here, and then dropping down again in case that we move for higher. If this broken, of course, this is a signal of strength, and I would say, okay, we gotta be careful. It might be a 1, 2, and another wave 3 potentially. If broken, therefore, okay, yeah, we are very bullish again. And an ultimate bullish scenario might be unfolding that we saw, of course, today in the live, in the analysis. Yep, so these are the possibilities. Now, of course, if we drop down directly, we're still in a potential 1, 2. Don't forget that this is a finished potential 1, 2 as well. And you might be in wave 3, 4, and a 5 to finish, of course, this wave 5 over there. That was it for Bitcoin, the deep analysis. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.